Uh, a lot this week, actually. I mean, well, I assume we're going to start by talking about Guilty Gear.
Yeah, it's a humongous fighting game week, and the news is a whole lot of fighting game news because there's a lot of big announcements. So I'm going to be going into a lot of that for a lot of this episode because big shit going down. Strive demo, it's been extended for another 2 days. Thank God.
I
I
think I
feel
played
as
more of that beta than I have like all the fighting games combined in my life over the past like 2 years.
that makes sense.
Like
You were in a
it's
weird place, so
it's like
I
I
think
had one mediocre match, and it was from a guy with terrible internet in Australia.
mhm.
Like it's
I
just good. The rollback is just great. It's great.
I had the only bad matches I had were when Min was accidentally uploading videos affecting my shit,
What
and I
the
had
hell?
no idea. So I was like, "Oh, well, that explains it." And then we stopped that, and then everything went back to being fine. So yeah,
Mm.
it is flawless rollback. Everyone is feeling it. I've retweeted a couple of examples of people in 2 takes, just like, "What's the big deal with this rollback shit? Oh my god, it's so good!" And like
It works. It just
everyone
works.
kind of collectively having this big like fucking like oh my god orgasm moment with it, where it's nice to have that like sort of vindication because you've talked to your till you're fucking blue in the face about rollback and about netcode, and we go on and on and on and on and on about it on this podcast and on our other things. And now you get to see like some people go, oh my fucking god, holy shit, I can't believe it's this good. And same goes for every like Sajam and Max are known for the crusading it, more so than we are, definitely. But like that would probably just be because we float adjacent to fighting
Yeah.
games as opposed
We're
to
not living
directly.
inside fighting games.
Right. So there's no reason for that to be as well heard in this general space. But the point remains that a lot of people found out for themselves that like you can play a match of this game with anyone around the globe and it feels like they're sitting next to you, and that's just kind of magic, right?
It's made netcode into how what's the worst analogy I could use? It's made netcode into a good healer in that it when it works, it's invisible.
You don't even think about it.
You
Yep.
don't even think about it.
Now you can just think about the game and what you're enjoying about it and focusing on being excited to play it and do things and learn it. And you're not even thinking about your match quality, which for every other game has been a plague of anxiety and annoyance,
Like
especially if
there
you
were a couple. Oh,
actually
sorry.
like what's happening in the game. Because, like,
Yeah.
don't get too attached, you might not be able to play it properly.
I out of the corner of my eye, like actually like out of the periphery, I was able to see a couple actual rollbacks, but they were just in the health bars. They were not reflected on the character models. So I would do stuff like go for a Potemkin Buster, and I would see the health go down for 1 frame,
Hmm.
and then go right back up because they jumped.
Hmm.
Um, I was playing, man. The first series of matches, I got a buddy of mine out in Toronto, right? And I think Montreal to Toronto or New York to Chicago or whatever, from one great urban center to the next one over, is probably where most people's matches are going to live, right? And have necessarily lived in the past couple years with online, right? Like anything outside of a 500-mile radius, right? Kind of give up, right? So I'm playing my buddy out in TO, and he's on Wi-Fi, and the ping was 11, and it handled the drop packets no problem, and he might as well have been sitting next to me.
Hmm.
Probably the weirdest thing, Wooly, is like it shows you the ping number, and the ping is so much lower than the ping I have seen to other things in other locations. Like here, from where I'm sitting to like TO, which is approximately the same distance as me to New York, is 11 to 15 ms. I don't get 11 to 15 ms connecting to servers in those areas.
Yeah, so something that needed to be explained a couple times was that like the rollback delay number you see is not the same as the rollback frame number you see is not the same as your delay frame
Yeah.
count. So if you try to think about them analog, it's not going to be the same thing. It's not the same level of it's not the same
I
experience.
I think the delay amount is the same in every match, and I think it's being hidden inside the game's natural input lag. Because I mean, I'm not the frame master I used to be in my youth, but I could detect no input lag at all.
Hmm.
Like outside the game's normal like input lag of like 3 or 4 frames. I couldn't feel it. It
Yeah.
felt like I was playing offline local.
So no, I mean, humongous shout outs and kudos to Arxis. They worked with Xenac on that, so that helps a lot. Like Xenac did a lot of work helping them with their rollback. Uh, he was also responsible for like Skullgirls programming and stuff like that too. And the fact that like at every event everywhere where they're like, hey, fill out these forms to tell us what feedback you would like, and like a solid 10 out of 10 forms were like rollback or no buy, like just and the fact too that the US branch, shout outs to Arxis US branch for being well aware of that and for
Mm-hmm.
putting that in its own section for easily quantifiable like data gathering to pass on to the Japanese office. The
How
American
much do you want rollback?
yeah, the American office was like, mm-hmm, okay, yep, don't you, yep, on a scale of 1 to 10. Would you put your rollback importance at a 10? Like just getting it in there. And yes, they made it very clear. Um, Although it's funny though because as we can see, you know, uh, 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 the some of the people that are behind fighting games in Japan are still running on delay based thoughts because at one point during that stream that happened, there was a brief moment where Giuna, who was doing the translations, said something to the effect of like, "Oh well, we were not supposed to say the word rollback here, but someone did say it, so I guess we're just going to talk openly about it." And I'm like looking at that and I'm like, someone on this group of devs did not want the words rollback to be used, huh? I see. I see. And it's very interesting because people are making like all these announcements. They're making the like dev life a living hell because they're making it so clear that they're just not going to have it anymore. Like it
It's
is.
it's it's becoming extra bizarre because that situation felt almost ideological.
Mm-hmm,
Like we don't talk about that here. I'm like, you can't escape from it now
mm-hmm,
because one of your major competitors
mm-hmm,
has fully embraced it, and
mm-hmm.
you will be compared to it. Period.
Yes, and like it's not like it's sacrificing a style that works in Japan for a style that doesn't work in Japan while prioritizing global or something like that. It's like no, it's great for Japan too, and like to the point where Akira Nishitani comes on and he's like, "Wow, I can't believe how good it felt. You guys did amazing work, Arxis. Congratulations." So whoever is not giving a fuck about this now is gonna look like they were already the odd man out, but now it's gonna get extra ridiculous, and
Yeah,
we're gonna get
it's
into
this.
that once we break down the actual discussion. But like, Guilty
It's an
Gear
interesting.
has made it mandatory.
Yeah, because like, okay, Skullgirls gets rollback. Oh, Japan rolls its eyes at Skullgirls, right? Power Rangers gets skull back. Oh my god, rollback. Whatever. Street
KI.
Fighter 5 gets bad rollback. KI
Mm-hmm.
gets rollback. Mortal Kombat gets rollback. Well, that's different because those are either American or they're not, they're different types of fighting games, right? Or look at Capcom, they did the rollback and it's bad, right? Guilty Gear is totally it's a Japanese fighting game that's popular in Japan. Japanese players will now know what rollback is. And they will understand, hey, it's cool to be able to, you know what I did for fun? And I'm sure you did this too, Woolie? You just went and hung out in the Japanese lobby and played Japanese matches.
Most of the time.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
And that's why Lil Bussy was hanging out. That's why Imagine Obama was being so toxic, because he's like, what are you doing on the 10th floor of the Japanese tower? Who do you think you are? Yeah. No,
Japanese tower is much stronger than the English American speaking tower.
As you would. Although now
much more intense over there.
Nowadays, though, it's about the celestial floor.
Yeah.
So it's heaven, it's heaven now. But yeah, so that's it. There's no reason not to. But I think you're like you said, it is a matter of not being concerned. But there's other parts to it, like we've discussed it many times. But you're looking at there's a comfort to the fact that they've been doing it this way and they feel comfortable with the delay-based code that they've always used. There's the fact that you not only have you always used it, but in many cases, they're implementing it into their arcade version of the game. So when you look at a game that comes out in Japan these days, for the last 10 years, they've made netplay, they've implemented delay-based because arcade cabinets are going to be using it, because the cabinets will have each machine seats a single player. Then they'll be linked up with another one on a group of 8. And then there will also be cross-Japan net play. So if someone is sitting at a cabinet in a completely different arcade, if you have no one to play against here, you'll match up against them. And so it'll already have this delay-based system implemented and tested by the time they're ready for the console port. So it's almost like they're like, well, fuck you. What do you mean we have to do this twice or change it from the get-go, or you know what I mean?
Do your job.
Yeah, so it's this whole thing. It's this extra level of resistance because they've already got arcade versions implemented in the way they do, and on top of that, now they have to do things like, consult with someone from another office. Like in this case, they have to reach out to GGPO people, ZNAC, all these non-Japanese developers, and work hand in hand with them. But again, as we see here, it's like, well, there's nothing more worth it than not having to think about the quality of your online matches, ever again. So
it's such an interesting situation because Dengenki Bunko Fighting Climax, that weird anime game, is getting unofficial rollback by a patch, and the devs don't like it because it's an unofficial modification of the game.
Sure.
And it's the game is currently basically unplayable.
Same thing for Melty Blood,
This is bordering on a consumer law of right to repair or something like that.
Right.
I'm literally just taking the thing you sold me and making it work by sawing off this table leg, or whatever example you want to use.
I mean, Parsec is not as invasive, but it's the same idea of just we're gonna do it, someone else will do it for you because your shit sucks,
No, stop it.
Yeah. So I mean, that aside, which needed to be said, the game itself is fucking glorious. It is really,
it's very fun.
It's very fun. It feels very good. It's got just all these little details that are really feel good, and I like that. Not everyone. There's a lot of people that are still upset about what this has become. And to be fair, every new iteration of fighting game has had this. Every single iteration of fighting game series has been Okay, but here's why it's watered down and why that sucks.
This game is a little watered down. Even I can see that. Like the air dashes are not the same air dashes as your old
Definitely
Guilty
not.
Gear.
Gatling is
Um,
heavily reduced, and you can't combo as wild as openly across every button as you used to be able to do.
it's this thing where there's a lot of long-standing Guilty Gear players or technical fighting game peoples who look at the system changes in Strive and they see, I would say, a reduced complexity,
Mm-hmm.
right, and different focus. And they say, it's watered down, all my options are gone, yada yada. And I look at it, it's like they've kind of toned Guilty Gear down to be a little bit more like Street Fighter, honestly. It feels more like Street Fighter to me. It feels more grounded, less zany in the air.
So I saw
Um,
those claims were there earlier,
mhm.
and now that we've seen more of it, it's objectively slower and therefore more like it, but
Yeah.
like it's still a lot faster than Street Fighter is.
Oh yeah. And the other thing is I like Street Fighter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
like
Right.
so it's this thing of like, oh, I can get why you're upset, but all the things they changed it almost directly to my benefit. Personally,
Mm.
I like
Yeah.
it.
No,
I like it a
I
lot.
I think there's I think most people are falling into that window of like, yeah, the changes are thing like the changes are not going to be ones that are going to uh negatively affect what they want to do in the game so much that they can't have fun with what it is.
Hmm.
And there are, again, for those that are like, it's I've seen a couple folks on my my group of friends and stuff that are like, yeah, I'm gonna stick with plus R, or like I'm gonna go back to fighters and stuff like that, and that's totally understandable.
Going back to fighters after this is gonna hurt.
The because of the net play situation,
Oh, it's gonna be painful.
primarily. But and there's no like, oh, like, what are you talking about between that? Because it's like, no, like I can see what they liked in the older game, and I can see
Yeah,
it
it's less
not
hyper.
I can see it not existing here. It makes perfect
Yeah,
sense.
absolutely.
But yeah,
But I happen to
personally,
like this thing.
I fucking play Samurai Showdown, dude. Like, I
Yeah.
I'm more than fine, so yeah, it is, just stylish and visually over the top. All that stuff is really, really great.
I
But
love the changes to Roman cancels.
the RC system is, so I mean, like, RCs over the course of time, from game to game, from Guilty Gear to Guilty Gear, have gotten progressively slower. The first
Yeah.
RCs were instantaneous blips of red.
The first RCs were like execution
They
stress tests.
there were instantaneous blips of red, and you just heard the word romantic, and that was the only real way to know for sure that you did it. you know. And then they eventually had the bigger pops, and then there was eventually the in Exurge you got the slowdown effect,
Mhm.
and then here it's a big exaggerated drift,
You
or
get
a big exaggerated
like
pop.
it is like, yes, there was slowdown in Exurge
Mm-hmm.
and so on, but I think the way that I described it was that the Roman cancels in Strive are so extreme. It's like, did you do something and then correctly get a Roman cancel? The game now like puts you into training mode for like 2 seconds
Mm-hmm.
to do whatever baby combo you
Mm-hmm.
can baby out. And as a baby who never used Roman cancels prior to literally Saturday, ever. No, sorry, not Saturday. Friday.
Really? Not even
Yeah,
in
never
Exurge?
used one prior. They were always accidents.
You didn't do
Always.
Hammerfall, RC, Popbuster?
Well, no, because I want to save my meter,
Okay.
and I know I'm gonna screw up the Roman cancel because my brain was like Roman cancels are in Guilty Gear XX, and I'll just save my meter, And so I started using Roman cancels on like Thursday and Friday for the first time ever. And within a couple days, I'm like, oh, you can do all sorts of stupid shit, and it makes it really, really easy because it does your huge baby slowdown for babies like me.
Sure. Um, it also
Thank you.
it also conserves momentum, which is fun. I like
There's weird stuff happening with that.
yeah, so you can do for example, there used to be something back in the days of Alpha 2 where you would do these I think they're like gachi cancels or so, but like these things where you would effectively start moving in a direction and then cancel into your custom combo, and it would preserve the momentum and swing you way in the direction you were going for some ridiculous movement, right? And what you would end up seeing is like nonsense trajectory jumps. And in this particular case, you can do exactly that with some moves, some characters. Nagoriyuki has one where when you do his sweeping low, it's not low, but his sweeping blood, like quarter circle backwards H button attack, he jumps slightly before he slides along the ground. And if you Roman cancel right as the jump is happening, then it turns into a really low but aerial hop that kind of travels
super weird
on a bendy flat rainbow kind of trajectory.
It looks like a KOF character on drugs.
Yes, I would say like 214 is the input, but I'm going to try to translate this to the thousands of people who don't know what the fuck I'm talking about by just saying quarter circle backwards. The way you gotta get that going, and and Chip has some wild shit as well. It's kind of like interesting to see that, because it means that like when it comes down to the lab, when it comes to people figuring out how this is gonna work, you're gonna see some nonsense in the first couple weeks where one move at one point has like an extreme jump or an extreme like push in a certain direction. You're gonna find that exact moment and see your characters just go flying.
We're also seeing a bunch of zany shit. Like, did you know that Kai on counter hit can just hit 8 Shoryus in a row?
Yes.
From the wrong corner.
So I've tweeted this out many times. I'll mention it here again because it's going to need to be repeated often. But if you are jumping in, this is your one of your first fighting games ever, and you're seeing people use numbers to discuss what like directional inputs they're doing, or you're seeing people use like things like 236K and all that shit. I'll just break it down real quick. It's numpad notation. It's the right side of your keyboard. So when you see 214 or like 63214 or things like that, all it is it's the right side of your keyboard, the numpad. So just imagine 5 is the neutral. It's the stick just sitting at rest. And all the numbers around it are the directions the stick can tilt in. And it's just...
so 2, 3, 4 punch is a fireball.
Exactly. It's down, down, forward, forward, punch. That's all it is. And there's no math involved. You don't have to add or multiply the numbers. You just do it in the number directions according to looking at your numpad. And the reasons for that is because when we have international conversations, someone from another country that speaks another language can type out a combo and you can understand it. So it's nice to not have language barriers be in the way of people discussing tech and fighting games. So that's all it's for.
2, 3, 6 and punch
2, 3,
is
6.
Fireball, not 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4 is no input ever. I'm super good at numpad notation. You can tell that I learned numpad notation relatively recently.
I'm trying to save you here.
No, there's no saving.
Technically,
and I even said it. No,
you do go from 3 to 4 when you're doing a raging demon. Excuse me, a raging storm. You do the pretzel motion by going diagonal over from 3 to 4. Then you go 1, 2, 3, 6. Then you go 1, or other way around. But yeah, you can actually do it there for the pretzel. 1, 6, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3.
Man, you know what the best part about Guilty Gear Strive is? We're finally back to the natural order of things, where we sit down and play a fighting game, and I win and you lose. The natural order. The way it was always meant to be.
Right on.
In which I get to steal the joke from my YouTube comments from a gentleman named Mutang, who suggests that you change the name of your Friday show to get back into training mode with fighting games.
Yes, I intend to spend a whole lot of time in training mode.
Now that the trash talk is over and I'm sated, dude, Nago's fucking blood shit is a suicide button.
Yes.
It is a suicide button. Like, holy shit.
It appears
like
to be...
you just die.
It appears to be a... Like, the fact that it does all that crazy damage, if you manage to, like, land that big super and like, you know, hit the guy with your sword button, it feels as if that is kind of like it's just a little compensation thing to be like, okay, you're not dead yet. If they fuck up really badly, then you can somehow bring this back. But
you can do 0 to 100.
But otherwise,
but like every single match I played against Nago, if his blood popped and he was anywhere but right next to me, he was dead.
That's correct. Yes.
Like every single time. It's rare that I can think of a character having a state that might as well just kill them.
It's as if like there was a puppet character, but like I don't know, you could kill the puppet, you know? Or like
kill the puppet dead.
Yeah. Or like you know, even like Ibuki has limited kunai, but she can look for more, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that. There's definitely that. Something else too is there is a like from tuning into a bunch of streams, like there's some talk about how the battle designer of this game is a huge fan of grapplers, and
what
is a humongous pot fan in particular. And
what are you talking about?
And you know, I think you're going to if you haven't already, like you're gonna see some insane things that character can do.
What are you talking about?
Have you been checking the clips?
What are you talking about?
He's a beast,
dude. Pot is like, I learned to do his Kara throw in like 30 minutes, and it's a really good Kara throw.
He's fantastic.
It's really good.
Yes,
and it's an easy input. And it's almost like his forward kick was built for this exact reason.
Mm-hmm. Not that it necessarily would have made a difference in our set. So no, Johns, I'm still learning.
It didn't, because I didn't land one. I didn't know how to do it then.
But yeah, I'm the stuff that I'm seeing, because I had similar results. You know, I fought Octopimp, and then I continued fighting a bunch of pot players online and trying to figure it out. And it seems like it's a similar situation to Exert in that like there might be no real answer here besides like don't fight him. Like do your play the fighting game in such a way where you're doing your best to not fight him.
I had the issue.
You can't win the mix.
When Chip and Milia were on me, I just it felt like I was in some kind of goddamn anime in which I was like, I literally can't see what their character is doing. Like I'm standing and I'm occasionally I'll burst out, or I'll try and do like a standing punch or or hammer fall for one hit depending. But like getting pushed in there is like, oh,
Hmm. I
when but
remember.
when I feel like I get to play Pot's game,
Hmm.
like I can't be stopped.
So
Even block strings are terrifying with the his fucking guard break move.
So I remember learning like throughout the years like different approaches to, kind of grapplers and like Street Fighter 2, you would still fight. You would be wary of the zone, the danger zone, but you would still take the fight, you know?
Yeah,
Um because a lot of that was about Geef's buttons, right? In addition to the threat. So, it was when Street Fighter 4 came around that like I remember we were doing like I was doing so many sets with the Montreal guys and I was fighting against the Geef players there and I was having
right.
such a rough go of it. And I like something kind of just like clicked one day when I did like a first to 20 or so with this player PTS1, this really really, really strong Geef player. And I realized at one point, like this dude was so godlike, he would jump in the later versions of the game. He would jump and like grab my up ball out of the air with Siberian Blizzard,
Oh,
right? Like that level of beastly, like just in your head, terrifying, right? Um, what I realized in those matches was that the war games situation was the only way to win. You just don't play. And it was like, all right, all games that Blanca or whoever you're playing that needs, like if I'm playing a character that's usually in your face rushing you down, a lot of the times that's what I'm doing. I'm playing a Makoto or a Blanca or someone that's trying to mix you up or get something fast and get some shenanigans going. None of that works because you're spinning and you're getting grabbed and that's the end of that, right? So then you just kind of realize the only game here is keep you at arm's reach out of any distance where you can do anything about it. And
which is hard because Potemkin's distance is actually enormous.
and then he has like the tools, right? But specifically just going in the Street Fighter sense, like with Blanca, I had my
Oh, right.
big long crouching fierce. I had my slide when you were like doing a lariat or something, and I had up ball for your jumps, and then every once in a
Right.
while when you're sleeping, hop in, do a throw, hop back out. But that's it,
Hmm.
right? Otherwise, it's like I'm just not even playing the game with you, and that like that worked, and it worked well enough that I was like, okay, that's the matchup. And Geef players would like that the Geef players are playing with, they're like, man, this is getting really annoying. And I was like, so it reverses, it goes the other way with it
Yeah.
because like the moment I stop playing the game with you, now you don't have a way to get your thing going.
I
But
want to get in and I want to hit my buttons, man.
yes, and it was such a like a it was a moment that I was like, no other character in the game required me to actually think about not playing the game, so to speak, because every other character you're having an exchange in neutral that consists of you win some, you lose some, when you use this button, I can low profile it with that, or there's little rock paper scissors things happening. But it was never a situation of like, no, rock, 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 and your tools are gone,
You know
right?
what beat,
So
you know what beats you know what beats you standing there? Rock. You know what
yeah.
beats you jumping? It's rock to the upright.
So I went, oh fuck, right? So all this to say that like I'm getting a similar vibe, and I got that vibe off of Biken versus Potemkin in Exert as well, where it was like, okay, yep, that's the lesson. The lesson really is you just can't treat him like the rest of the cast and play Guilty Gear with him. You have to choose to not play Guilty Gear with him. He has too much stuff that hurts way too much to afford to play Guilty Gear. You just have to choose to not engage.
the way that I would describe it as somebody who plays it is every character has their ranges in which they're dangerous, right? Kai has a really nice diagonal that's really dangerous because of his good Shoryuken. Certain people have better pokes and sweeps, and here's the mid range that someone can fuck you up and combo you or start their rush down.
Mm-hmm.
With Potemkin, it feels like it is his body extended out about 50% again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, imagine Potemkin was just 50% larger on the screen, and that is just it's not danger, it's death. If you are within one character distance of Potemkin, you will probably die.
Mm-hmm. Now,
Because even if even if he's in the corner and he can get you to block once, suddenly you're in the fucking 50-50 of the guard crush versus the car throw versus the whatever.
now he's not the only scary character on the roster.
No.
Ramlethal is getting played a whole lot because she's better than she ever was in Exerd, and her big girl buttons are fucking duffing everything that you put
There's
out there.
there's a great feeling because I was playing pot and I was fighting against a lot of Ramlethals and a lot of double counter hits.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Lot of we both have big, almost full screen buttons
Mm-hmm.
that we want to hit at poke range, and we're gonna knock each other over.
Yeah. Um. So and a thing too is that like I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, like something that like they gave Nagaryuki a massive anti-air swiping crouching heavy button, right? Where he just like
It's crazy.
it's humongous, right? Because it's meant to be like if you're in the air, fuck you.
You
But
don't get to jump in.
if you have a double jump, which everyone on the roster except him has, you can 100% just hop over it safely and like get a free punish, you know? So then I was like, oh shit, okay, like this is not as like this can be predicted and they can nimbly move out of the way or dash out of the way in a lot of cases if I'm trying to catch where they were a second ago. And then I was like, maybe I can react to the dash of the air the sigil, the glowing sigil on the air dash.
Yeah,
But the button's too slow for that, unfortunately.
yeah, it's not gonna happen.
And plus, and once you're in like Mega Fist range, it just you can't. It's too slow. Mega Fist comes out down.
Oh
too fast,
man,
for example.
you know what's a really hot top tier combo that I discovered? It's really hot, good combo with Potemkin.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mega Fist,
somebody
Mega Fist,
goes
Mega
to,
Fist.
if somebody goes to dust you or sweep you,
Yeah.
and you do Mega Fist,
Counter.
and then you hit the counter hit, which is a free Mega Fist.
Yeah.
And then they wall splat, and then you do
Mega
a third Mega Fist.
Sure thing.
And that's 55% right
Yeah,
there.
absolutely.
That's
Fafnir, Dolphin, for sure. But yeah, Ramlethal is also really scary. And if you go watch Sonic Fox's footage, you can see they put some tech together where like you see Ram do her big beam super, Roman cancel it, and then jump over you so that you now have to block the beam backwards, and it's quite disgusting.
By the way, since you mentioned that, I am now going to, in the other monitor, out of the corner of my eye, watch a Sonic Fox versus Nagaruki fucking match with Ramlethal. And I'm seeing stuff that people did to me. Just crossing me up.
Yes.
Don't like it.
So, she is also quite a terror in the game right now. Yeah, man, like there's we're gonna see the way things shape up, but
she's got like a one frame activation just bomb that goes off in front of her and her super. Like it has no animation.
No, you
just die.
Yes, if you're pressing buttons, if you're applying pressure to her and she doesn't like it, she can just do a super in between that says stop pressing those buttons, please.
She's a character with like a classic like invincible wake up super.
Yeah, it's a little bionic arm point blank little like idea. Just whoop, boom, stop it. And it's safe. Yep. Very, very good.
Her buttons are so big. Her buttons are so big.
Axel is not as scary as I thought he would be because the one vision time stop super is blockable.
Yeah,
So
it's a hit.
thankfully it has to hit you for you to stop, which is like, oh, thank fucking Christ. Okay. Well, yeah, sure. Let that be what it is. It's not a matter of just throwing it out there anytime because you have to be caught sleeping or pressing a button and such, but still a really good. I fought like one or two really good Axels that like just knew when to put a button out and like hold you in place, and he's
It,
still
it
he's always scary, he's always an issue.
it's funny because it's not every character, right? But the anime game's long-standing feeling of I'm gonna play this character is often I want to play a different fighting game that has its own rules that are only for me. And playing Potemkin definitely feels that way.
Yes.
Playing against Axel
Mhm.
definitely feels that way.
Yes.
Axel is not letting you play Guilty Gear, no matter who
Yeah.
you are. You don't get to play Guilty Gear. You get to play. Is Axel going to go high, low, or that fucking diagonal?
No, you're playing Make It to Axel. You're playing a
Yeah,
little fucking shmup.
you're playing Flappy Duck with
Sure.
Axel's chains shooting out at you.
Yeah. Milia Rage is jumping like all over you and just dancing left and right. And I hope you've got a good anti-air button because if it's not fast enough, she's just gonna fucking check your shit
Yeah.
constantly. But I noticed that there's some ways to kind of like there's some ways to handle it, at least with Nago. So she was potentially scary, but like there were answers that I eventually found. Leo is still pretty nuts, but not as much as he used to be.
It took me a while to figure out that his dash was crossing me up.
Yes. Well, that's
It
what
took
he
me a
always.
lot longer to
Did you
realize that I am proud of.
did you fight him in Exert at all?
Never, not
Okay.
once.
Okay.
He might as well be a completely new character to me.
So in Exert, he would do Rekkas, and then they would have different enders, and sometimes they would cross you up, sometimes they wouldn't. Here they've made it so that it's usually like you're going from regular buttons into a cross up or non cross up, but he had way more options and fake outs that he could do in Exert. They've simplified it into just that basic one. But and then there's the overhead once he is crossed up and he's in Brunhilder stance. But the fact that like they kind of put him into that one gorilla moment, and you can throw it, you can just train your eyes.
Okay, so Leo is the person people are calling the Gorilla Boy.
He always is this unga. He's got the bunga, and he's got a
Because
big.
it's weird to me.
Mhm.
Because he's clearly supposed to be a lion.
Yes, but the gorilla meme doesn't refer to the animal that he represents as a character. Anyone can be a gorilla. Anyone can be a complete chimp. Anyone can be a complete fucking whatever analogy you want to use with it. Orangutan.
Rush down filling.
Yeah. The idea is that you are brainless rush down. I don't know what I'm doing next. I
don't know what you're doing next.
I hope you don't block it, but I'm just gonna I don't know what it's gonna be.
Yeah, there it is. That's the character in a nutshell. I hope you don't block it.
Yeah. And I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm just gonna keep trying until something happens. No game plan. Just raw return to monkey. Go on your instincts and see what happens. And then he's got that command grab, which it seems like it's slow enough that you can call it out, so you're not seeing it get mixed in. But it might catch someone sleeping every once in a while and do a big old dunk.
Yeah, I played a set of like 30, 40 matches with a Leo, and he threw that command grab out like 4 times. Like on average, like once every like 8 or 9 matches, but it hit every time.
Okay. Yeah. No, the thing with it, Leo, too, is you gotta know that the main thing to know is that like you can throw the cross up when it happens, and uh, he's got a flash kick,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's what you wanna look out for that too. So,
I have
uh,
never been happier to learn safe jumps in a game than this game
hmm
because everyone's flash kick, like no one has a low flash kick or shoryu.
well, he
Everyone's shoryu or flash kick makes them go way up and come little slow down, and it's like,
that's
oh man.
not true. He does have
Oh,
a shorter version of it. He literally
okay,
has a high one and a short one, and
then
same.
that short one is not that short.
Yeah, there's reversals that are not quite massive in their upwards trajectory like that. But yeah, this that's that's the cast we're looking at, and that's how it's shaping up so far with like the scarier members. Soul is the wild throw is still the scary thing you want to look out for. I feel as if that's the main concern that I had during the early version of the game. During the first versions, they toned down the damage on it, but he still can just run up to you, do his dragon punch kick attack, and just like grab you, slam you to the ground, and that does the 20% or so, maybe even 25. Um, and something that people also need to get used to with Guilty Gear, that if you're not used to the game, is the concept of guts, which is your life bar is not an even distribution of
Your
damage.
life bar's a lie.
Your life bar is a lie. The
It's a
last
it's an aggressive lie too.
the last half of your life bar is way more dense than the first half, right? So
Yeah, the last 25% of your life bar is actually like half your life.
it's the guts system. Like you can just if you were familiar with like Photoshop or video editing tools, where like you would have a 100% thing, if you could go to the 50% mark and drag that 50% mark actually to be somewhere around the 75% mark, then you'll be looking at a real more accurate description. So the first couple
Yeah.
hits you take are massive,
Huge.
massive, huge, and then the last few end up being like, it takes a while to like whittle it down, when you get hit with a super towards the end, it might not even kill,
Does nothing.
even though it looks like it should. Yeah. So it's
Meanwhile,
it's
you
an,
hit a good super on first hit, and you're like, was that 60%?
yeah. I think it's a decision made on like the tension of you almost being dead but not quite dead yet. Like I think they want to elicit that feeling earlier.
It's very dramatic.
They want to increase that feeling of tension. And I think it's also that they can give because different characters have different guts levels. So like the reduction on your damage or the increase in your defense, it's character specific.
Yeah.
Potemkin has a higher
Like
one.
Chip basically doesn't have this system at all.
Yeah, Chip just dies. He has very little defense up before his life bar goes away, whereas a lot of other characters, they get a sizable increase, and it's made to reflect how like sturdy, how big, how strong the character is, but also like create a sense of tension in the matches. I think I think I just prefer clean damage numbers because it makes it easier to calculate things.
Yeah,
I
get it.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second. I'm just gonna mute this
Yep.
because baby is snoring directly into it.
Big
Baby,
snores.
baby, why? Why you hamburger? Why you big hamburger boy? There we go. The hamburger has been slightly de-emphasized.
Yeah. So what needs obviously to be fixed about the Strive open beta so far is, well, one, that lobby system
Oh,
is giving everyone a headache, and it's cute, but the fact that it doesn't function makes all the cuteness turn to frustration. When you are running around with your little character dressed up and you stick your sword out at people, like, that is a charming thing on paper, but because it leads to so many hiccups in teleporting and placement and trying to rematch somebody that you just got a fight with, it ends up being so frustrating that the cuteness kind of like wears off, you know?
all right. Step one to fix the lobby system. One, hit a rematch button. Just literally put a
Yep.
rematch button.
Yep. Or go for
Step,
the Street Fighter and KI style of, like, you can even have a default 2 out of 3 set,
yep.
you know? But like have the rematch button right there for sure.
Okay. Step two, make it so that the option to challenge to a fight, even if it's grayed out, is always the top option. Because if you click on somebody and they're not available and you like tap it real fast and you decide to download their R code,
Yes.
and it takes like 35 fucking minutes
Yes.
to download their fucking code that I don't give a shit about.
Yeah. Well, so that's not really, step 2 should not be put the option there grayed out. I would say fix the R code system, because right now it takes a full minute to download someone's R code and it should take 2 seconds, right? So the fact that accessing the R code takes as long as it does is the real problem, as opposed to, you know, accidentally hitting the button, I would say. It was really, really annoying when you hit it and you're like, well, I'm stuck in this for a while. I guess I'm out of games now, you know?
I legit don't understand, like, the old-fashioned lobby of just your name in a series of boxes that rotates through.
Yeah.
Like,
so
that was fast and easy, and it worked.
it worked. And did you ever touch Accent Core plus R rollback?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, because you just hit ranked, and then it goes searching for a match found, start. And
Well,
and
they said that will be a function in the release game.
yes. So this is where I go into the solutions, because the Exurge system of like having cabinets worked fine. It was okay to sit at a cabinet, and then like whoever was sitting there was pretty much like, again, you're almost locked in and readied up in this way. But in this case, the free movement and all that shit creates some confusion, as opposed to like the idea of, because like there seems to still be cabinet placements, but they're invisible, you know?
Yeah.
But what I did to get around it, and what I suggest everyone do, is enter the floor and the room you want to fight in, and then use the wait in training mode option. Because when you press start and you go to wait in training mode, it'll automatically just feed you matches while you sit in training mode, and it seems to grab the next available person who doesn't have a partner.
Yeah, so I was wondering about that, because like it says it just readies you up, but it can't just ready you up, because then if everyone used that, then no matches would happen.
No, what
It
happens
has
is
to match you somehow.
so you can see the system at work when you're idling in the lobby. So it readies you up. You stand in a spot. If no one walks up to you and challenges you, if you and another person who is waiting for a match have not been matched in a couple of seconds, a countdown from like 10 seconds begins, or like 15 seconds.
That's what that is.
And you'll see 15, 14, 13. And when that countdown hits 0, 2 people that have the matching number will then be paired up.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's all it is, right? It's like, oh, you're searching, I'm searching. All right, well, I'm now going to make myself the host, and you're going to, or not myself the host, but I'm going to be player 1. You're going to come challenge me in my game. That's all that number is, right? So that made my matchmaking life a lot easier. And you just, you enter the room, and then it thankfully challenges people in the room that you're at, or on the level that you're at. The problem with quick match, and I don't recommend it, is that If you are undervalued on your recommended matches, or you want to fight a particular level of skill of enemy, it's gonna put you only. It's gonna quick match is gonna send you people recommended from your floor. So I tried it out real briefly to see what happened, and I accidentally, like, because my starting recommended floor was like 5 or whatever.
Yeah, everybody says at the start. Yeah.
Then I ended up getting fed people from 5, and that means I was quick matched into floor 5, and it wasn't fair. I was just
Yeah, it was
crushing
great,
a bunch. Not
Oh.
really, because
I was sick. What are you talking about?
because I'm like, that's not where I'm supposed to be, and like, people would, match and disconnect, or match and leave, and like fucking, whatever. And it was just like, it was bad, right? It was like this is not where I'm supposed to be, because it's like, yeah. So and someone even like tweeted me about it, going like, dude, is this you on the 5th floor? What the fuck are you doing? And I was like, oh shit, it's the fucking quick match system.
I think the lobby system, if they make it more reliable, is not as bad as everybody's saying it. However, that's mainly because the feature of not being able to go to a floor below your rank.
Did that
I think
sound
is
like
a
I'm
cool
sorry, did that
feature.
sound like a brag? Did that at all?
No. No, if
What-
it was me, it would be a
what
brag. If it
I
was
have
you, you're actually trying to get good matches,
I'm
and these
legitimately
peons
confused about how
can't
that
give
sounded
them
like a
to
brag.
you.
Like, it was a bad thing where people that were like, no, you're on the wrong floor, we shouldn't be fighting, and they were legitimately not having fun and like leaving and running away, and it was like that's not, I'm
Yeah.
not implying. Anyway, all right.
It's a killer playing with children. They should go back to school.
So by going into the floor manually, you can just avoid having the recommended floor get pushed at you, which is a
Yeah.
bad thing. The we'll see. So we'll see how that works in the final version. I hope.
They keep saying that, like, we need to have this lobby because we have all these cool features that need this lobby. And I'm like, what features? Like, literally what?
So what it was is the fact that you can do little gestures, you can wave, you can swipe your sword, you can press R2 for quick shortcut buttons to say, hey, GG's, and thank you, and all the little things that you could do in the other Arxis games, right? In BB Tag, in Exurge, you could walk around in the little in Grand Blue, you just walk around with your little cute avatar and interact with people, Again, it's like, it's like on paper, as long as you can get matches when you want them ASAP. I like these little cute fun features, but they have to not be in the way of actually getting matches going,
I really hope the game just has a, not even training mode, just like ranked match button. I can say ranked.
Yes.
And it'll sit and wait for 10 seconds or 15 seconds
Yes.
or whatever it happens to be.
That's
And
ultimately
kick me
what
in the
their
mouth.
last games had. Their last games had, like, go put on your avatar and walk around the cute fun world, or just hit the queue me up for a match button, and then it would just throw you a match, and that was the end of it, or again, wait in training mode. So
Yeah.
It'd be weird. They figured that out in the past, so I assume they'll have that here now. And again, quick match, as long as you can specify what floor, that's what the quick match will likely be, so yeah, that there was that. Training options were pretty robust. I was quite happy with them.
Well, they're pretty good.
You
I
had
kept running into this issue where I would be training mode and then the game would decide that now I want to start in the corner.
Oh, that's your reset button settings. So if you hold if you press the reset button and you hold a direction, holding left restarts you in the left corner, right is the right corner, down is dead center, and up is swap positions.
I did not know that.
That's been a feature of
That's
fighting games
cool.
for like 5 years now, maybe 10. It's been a while.
Yeah, but I didn't know it, so it's new.
It's super old.
It's super new.
it's a it's
You can
fucking
tell how much attention I played to fighting games in the past couple of years.
I want to say Street Fighter 4. I want to say Street Fighter 4. But yes, you hit the reset the training button, and then you hold your direction to choose where you want to reset from. And up again swaps your positions. So it's good. If 4 didn't have it, like Marvel 3 had it. Like it's not a new invention. Definitely at least Marvel 3. So there's that. There's reversal options. There's, like quick change of character and stage is a nice thing to have too. Not have to go back to the
It's
character select
also
screen.
it's also nice that this is obviously unique to the PS5 version, but man, those load times are fucking zero.
Yo, that bird just takes off and vanishes. I
Like
remember, yeah, yeah.
the, the feature of going in and out of training mode is a lot better on PS5 than it's ever been in a different game, because like going back and forth from training mode is not like, okay, well, we're gonna load the new stage and wait 5-10 seconds. It's like,
So
no, you're there.
so
Done.
on the PS4 version, when I was playing it back at the at Arc Revo, and then when it was at Frosty Fostings, like I remember that like the bird would be flying in the air long enough that you would hear more than the first two riffs of Sky Should Be High. The song would start playing, and then now it's gone. That's generally about how long it takes to load now. But back then you could hear a lot more of it, Yeah, that makes it very nice. That takes away some pain that would otherwise be there between matches. Mankind round one ready. Mankind.
I
Yeah.
got to see one full character intro the whole time.
Due to your own choices.
Nope. I would let it go most of the time,
Oh,
because I think the heaven or hell shit is cool.
damn. That sucks.
But I would almost never get past mankind knew they could not change society, and so round one, or
You
whatever the fuck.
you should go into versus CPU and check out some of those, because like Pot has some cool ones.
Yeah, and they're unique. They're proper, like pre-match intros.
Mm-hmm. Axel probably has the best, because he just straight up time slips into reality and music stops. So like straight up is like Zaworldo style, like the world grays out, the portal opens, he jumps out, touches a butterfly, and it all resumes. And then you get to see it happen from the second player perspective, where nothing ever stops, but a butterfly suddenly flies by and then he just appears next to it. Like, it's super stylish. Check some of those out. Yeah, they're fantastic. I mean, what am I like? They're the best fighting game intros we've ever had. they're
I mean,
literally
we're
the
probably
best in
never
the franchise.
we're probably never going to talk about him again today. I just want to say Eddie looks really cool, and that his voice actor combined with the straight up Dio colors
Mm-hmm.
is appreciated.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, no one's picking those colors, are they?
No, they're picking the 2P colors,
Yep.
which need to change.
They're not milk. It's not milk.
There's one color that Eddie can pick. Sorry, Zato can pick, that turns Eddie from black to white, and it looks like he's attacking you with a sperm monster, but also it's legitimately harder to see than the black one.
In the snow stage, I imagine.
It is bad.
Mm.
It is actually really bad.
Yeah.
It,
So
like Zato with that white and purple color scheme is a slightly better fighter than the other color schemes.
I'm getting flashbacks to Hakan Color 12.
Hakan 12. Oh man, is he oiled up? I don't know. I just straight up don't know.
They didn't plan for this. uh, shit. Let's patch the game and make him glow white. That'll do it. Yeah. I think trying to think what else is there to it. Pretty basic front end and UX to it, like single player, network, and just kind of divided into and story. So just divided into like the three big things people are going to care about.
You know what? I do have a legit complaint about Strive. And that is, I don't know if it was viable, if this was something in Xrd, but I do know that they switched to primarily vocal tracks in Xrd, right? So the vocals are coming through and society, right? Those songs are all really long, and you will only hear the first 70 seconds of them. Ever. Like I listened to the full version of Smell of the Game. Like it like they drop out the fucking instruments near the end and like do just a pure vocal version. And it's like, wow, it's really great. That's 3.5 minutes in. You will never hear it.
So Xrd has had all this vocal music selectable for fighting as well. And alongside all the instrumental stuff and alongside all the regular tracks, I'd be very surprised if you weren't handed a robust list of stage music and a healthy mixture of instrumental tracks, vocal tracks, and then possibly even like karaoke versions as well. So if you're just on the mix of things, you can definitely just like listen to instrumentals only. You know,
it's this weird combination of, it's just like the the game needs to go to 2 out of 3 matches, like overall. Like Virtua Fighter did that a long time ago, where the Virtua Fighter standard just became 2 out of 3 matches, and I think this Guilty Gear should as well. Because fuck, most of my matches did not last 50 seconds. The whole thing.
Yeah, I mentioned it a little earlier. It would be great if they figured out how to do, not figured out, but it would be great if they implemented sets into ranked play, because KI and Street Fighter already do that. They could do 3 out of 5. We would have to see. I think it seems like looking at the timing of it, they like 3 out of 5
guys, hold on. I need to clarify something. I didn't mean 2 out of 3 rounds. I meant 2 out of 3 matches.
It could be and
2 out of 3 rounds.
Yeah, but it could be. Wait, now I'm getting confused. What?
Like, you could do 3 out of 5 rounds, but I'm just saying, like, I would prefer like an auto rematch, like 2 out of 3 games,
best of 3 games. Yeah. Oh,
yeah, best of 3 games.
Okay. Yeah. No. 3 out of 5 rounds would be weird, and like also not like the meter carryover situation would get really weird. Like, no, don't fuck with the rounds. Don't do that. Just play longer sets.
Just first person to win 2 matches.
I think what we're gonna see is we're gonna see a system of like 2 out of 3 sets for the first tournaments, and if things go really, really fast, then they'll bring it to 3 out of 5. When you get not meter carryover, burst carries over from rounds, guys.
Yeah.
Anyway, when you make a tournament where like Skullgirls, for example, was like, oh fuck, the high level Skullgirls play made the game go twice as fast as it used to. We got to do 3 out of 5 now. Like
Yeah.
these sets are like nonsense. You're getting touched and getting blown the fuck up, you know. Um, so when you have when you have like games like that where they realize that it's things speed up, then they eventually are like, okay, yeah, we got to make it last. You know, Marvel needed it, but uh, this feels like 3 out of 5 might be a nice place to land because people are going to optimize. They're going to get their combos where it'll be about 3 touches. You know.
Yeah, I'm doing bullshit with Potemkin out of my ass, and it's like 2 touches, 3 touches.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like, if I guess right 2.5 times, let's say, like the shit's over in 12 seconds. Like it's just done. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
But yeah, pretty phenomenal. I think the new standard Gatling is like replaced with SHH, right? Or SSH rather. That's the new close SH is a universal string for
Yeah.
the entire cast or so. There's there's enough going on where like I feel like when I'm looking at like people labbing I was just watching people's streams and shit. There's a moment where you can go and you link into this or you lead into that, and then this is where the sauce starts, as they say. You know, this is where you get to you're now in a juggle state. You're right next to them, and you can do what you want. And
You can do all sorts of stupid zany shit.
yeah, and like I found some for example Potemkin specific Nago combos where you get like some wall bounces involved and like launchers into like just nice damage that doesn't take blood, you know?
Yeah.
And so like I'm like,
And
okay,
and Potemkin's nice and big, so you can get some of them on him where you
he
wouldn't
gets
otherwise
yeah
be able to.
there's absolutely character specific and size specific things, which is like brutal to remember in the long run.
It's annoying as shit, dude.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people at first, like honestly, the easiest thing to do is like start with your universals, you know, start
Yeah.
with things that work on everybody, and then eventually start implementing like character specific knowledge. But
Then
it's
focus
a lot
on
to think
character
about.
specific knowledge for the characters you hate the most.
Right, exactly. um, but yeah, no, I mentioned it last time, and I'm definitely feeling it for sure now. Nagoryuki is going to be 100% effective based on your knowledge of the game as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Because his like lack of mobility and lack of like his lack of like getting out of trouble tools
Yeah.
is meant to be made up for by his ridiculous damage on hit confirm, but you have to know when to hit. And if you and in order to know when to hit, you have to know when somebody does anything they can to you. Is it your turn or is it still their turn? and
Oh no, I thought it was my turn, but it was still their turn.
the entire roster is going to do like their entire move list to you, and you're going to need to know when it's your turn. And when it is, you have to take that moment and take half their life off, or you will not win. So that's the character that's going to be like, this is for knowledge. You're gonna pick this guy because he's a cool looking vampire samurai, but to stick through and work out his problems, the answers lie in the heart of battle. Literally, they lie in probably getting into some frame data.
It relies on looking at somebody like Chip or Milia or Eddie and being like, where in this nonsense do I get to hit a button?
After the second string of the Rekka, he does 2, and then if he goes for that third little hopping fucking chip kick, right there.
Blam! And then he just dies because it's Chip, and Chip just dies.
Mm-hmm.